Anderson,
Yeah,
welcome to Dick Liberty. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here, man. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no worries, dude. I've seen some of your music in the videos. You sound amazing. I know that you've been playing. You had a show last night, if I'm
Yeah.
not mistaken, right? And you're going to be playing tomorrow at the VFW when we do the potlucks,
Yeah.
right?
Played last night. We're gonna play tonight.
Awesome, dude. So,
Playing tomorrow night as well.
how did you get into music? Like, what is your story? Because you're active duty now, correct?
Right. Yeah.
You're a member of the Air Force. What do you do in the military?
Security forces.
Security forces.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
You jump certed?
No.
No?
Not jump certed.
Okay.
Not jump certed, but spend a lot of my time doing the same thing with your military police.
Okay.
Do, except that's what they call us in the Air Force.
Security forces. Okay. So you're like, oh, I messed up. No, I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
No. There's a keen respect that you have for those guys. So try not to say that too loud because there's a huge respect that we have for those guys. So
absolutely.
We use security forces.
Okay, cool. So tell me a little bit about yourself, man. Introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself, how you grew up, what made you go to the military. Like, I love to share these kinds of stories because you never know who it could inspire. So go ahead.
Absolutely, man. So it's an interesting story, and like you said a little bit earlier, from Florida. Originally, I grew up in St. Augustine, Florida.
Beautiful place. I love that fort there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's the oldest city in the United States, man. So you gotta love it and the history behind it. But the history behind me, though, is more about my family and where I got to where I'm at right now as far as the military career and stuff like that. So it's interesting when I look back. I've noticed that there's been multiple things that have driven who I am as a person.
Okay.
And have helped me through the hard times that I've had in the military, particularly multiple deployments. Obviously, 19 years that I've been in, I've had some time.
So you got 19 years under your belt?
19 years.
Holy shit, bro. You've aged very well.
So thank you. I appreciate it. Hopefully my body ages the same way as maybe my face does, but we'll see how that works out. But yeah, it starts with your family, and for me, the resiliency side of things started when I was young. I was 5 years old. Grew up in a very country type of atmosphere, and Dad was a hard drinking man, and Mom was sometimes the victim of the tough scenarios that my dad would present. And so 5 years old, a situation where my mom was into an altercation with my dad, and he reached for a gun, and she had it first and pointed it at him and said, "If you touch me again, I'm going to shoot you." And
holy shit, man.
That pissed him off.
I could imagine.
Yeah, pissed him off pretty bad. And
how you doing, Shelly? Thanks for joining us.
And she shot him. So
so you witnessed?
No, I didn't witness.
Oh, okay. I was just like, holy shit, dude! She shot your dad.
They left the kids at the house when this happened. So
wow.
So at that point, what was cool out of that whole situation is, my dad was a tough guy, but at that point, obviously, I got a whole new dad.
Right.
And he turned out to be a different dude, and their relationship went a different direction based upon that. And so it was pretty neat to see them recover from that as a couple. And grow through that and heal and work through that. But it also told me, showed me at a very young age that, things can be tough sometimes, but you can make it through those tough times and push through it. So to me, that was always, kind of the foundation of that. And Dad was an older guy, so I had some older half sisters and stuff like that. I passed away when I was younger as well. So it was like dealing with those tough things before I even came in the military was something that was a reality. And you start to build different characteristics about yourself to be able to get through those tough times. And I think that helped me out later on when I was older and going through my own tough times.
What characteristics do you think that you gain the most from going through those experiences?
Patience.
Patience?
Is the first one, yeah. Patience is something that you try not to have an emotional answer to everything. Be logical about kind of your approach when it comes to things, and developing those patient attributes. Patience attributes are important, but also understanding the humanistic value of people and understanding that humans are humans and they're going to make mistakes. They're not always going to be perfect, and it's not always a personal thing that you have to take. Like an attack on you. It's the fact that they're human, and they're not always going to be right on par. They're not always going to be perfect, and so accepting the fact that the things are going to be tough at times, and not to take everything completely personal when things get hard.
You know, you made an interesting comment with your humanistic
Mm-hmm.
and recognizing those virtues in people and yourself.
Right.
How did that impact you, the humanistic aspect, while you were serving in the military? I'm sure you got some deployments under your belt. I'm sure you've seen a lot of shit in different countries. How did that humanistic aspect impact you in your service?
Well, to get into the service, I had to learn some humanistic qualities about myself.
Okay.
And so after I graduated high school in St. Augustine, I went to Liberty University up in Virginia.
Okay.
And at that point, I'd kind of been the golden kid, like stay out of trouble type of guy. You know, my brothers and sisters.
The all-American boy next door, right?
Yeah, but my brothers and sisters were the complete opposite. Just freaking having a blast at life at that young age. And for me, I was more of, all right, just go to school, play sports, you know, and then go to college. And first one to go to college in my family, which was kind of a big deal.
That's awesome.
And then 6 months later, I got into some trouble and wasn't going to college anymore. So it was one of those things that I remember calling my dad. And I told you my dad was pretty tough dude. And I remember calling him, and this is the part where I was talking about, you know, he's kind of a different guy. I called him, and I don't know, hey, you know, they pulled a couple of scholarships. I can't afford to come here anymore. I need to come home. And completely destroyed because I've been that golden kid, and internally myself was tough on myself. And I called him and told him the story, and he goes, well, you know, I've never really done anything that bad. And I was like, what kind of response is that? You know, I know your background. You know, I know that you've done like things. You've had some tough times, but it was pretty cool, and it taught me that lesson that I'm human too. You know, I'm going to make mistakes as well. So at that point, I moved back home, came in the military. So when it comes to that, I kind of experienced that up front for myself personally. But later on, spent some time in North Dakota, then moved to Aviano, Italy. I was there for 4 years, and that's where my first opportunity to deploy was at. And we were in Iraq doing off-base patrols, running Tampa.
Oh, fuck Tampa,
the main line. And luckily we were in the south, so it wasn't as crazy as it was, you know, closer to Baghdad and stuff like that, and hanging out in Nasiriyah. And you start to realize, you know, what life is really about. And you start seeing things where the guys who always talked about how, you know, A-type they were, they had that A-type personality, and as soon as you know, they take that first.
As soon as you hear that crack over your head, like gunshots don't bother me. It's that crack.
Right.
That you hear when it goes over you, and you're like, man, I'm glad I fucking heard that.
I'm glad I heard it as well. But you see their attitude completely change, man, as soon as you get, you know, a quarter mile off the installation. They're not within that safe, secure environment anymore. And so you start to see those humanistic elements.
Those elements come out. Did you ever notice how, like, some of the biggest dirtbags in the garrison turned out to be your fucking rock stars?
So
under pressure, man.
Good story here. We had a prior Army guy that actually had moved over and crossed over to the Air Force.
How you doing, Aaron? Thanks for joining.
And pretty interesting story, man. We were out. The base had got rocketed, and we were probably 2 or 3 miles from the base at that point. So it's a huge berm that was around the base. It was Talil Ali.
Okay, yeah.
And huge berm that was around that base. And we got up on the berm, and my adrenaline was moving quick. I was the patrol leader that day, and I'll never forget stopping for a minute. And you know, we're all online. We're all, you know,
going through battle drills.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll never forget looking down the line, and Salvers was this kid's name. We hadn't trained this. It was just something that came naturally to him. And they're all on the berm. I'm a little bit below, so I can watch what's going on. And I look over. Sowers is running down that berm to the Humvees, and I was like, "Where is he going? What is he doing?"
What is he doing?
Yeah, like, you know, I'm watching him, and he grabs. We had some coolers in the Humvees. And he grabs one of the coolers and starts running down the line. He's just throwing water at everybody in the middle of the day. And it's one of those things that you don't practice for that. A lot of times you have that stuff on your gear.
Yeah.
You got it, but he had enough foresight and understanding of the situation to know, okay, we're going to need some water because we may be here for a minute. But that was one of those things that I didn't expect it, but it showed, you know, the little small thing, nothing crazy there, but just a little small thing that was like, all right.
Yeah,
we're gonna be all right. You know what I mean?
Right.
So cool, interesting story there. But a couple years goes by.
Okay.
Not in Iraq.
Right.
He finished his time in Iraq.
He came home, guys. He had a break.
Actually, we ended up getting redeployed down to after we were done with the 6 months, they ended up sending us down to KCIA
Okay.
to close up a mission that was down there. So we were there for a couple more weeks after that, and finally went home. And then I moved PCS and I moved to Colorado Springs, and that was back-to-back deployments for me. And it was a different atmosphere. It wasn't more the patrolling side of it. At that point, I was an investigator.
Okay,
so that for three investigator deployments.
What was it like to transfer or transition from being, on patrol and doing your security checks and walking through the marshes and fucking taking down caches to being an investigator?
It was a slow transition because I'd been used to that high ops tempo, not necessarily engaging with individuals at that point, engaging with groups, and so.
We love you too, guys. Thank you for watching so much. Please share.
That transition was it took me a little bit to get through it. And of course, obviously, the military does it right. And spent some time doing some training before we get down there. So I was in Leonard Wood for a little bit, hanging out, and
it's one post I've never been to actually.
Get some training done, and then went downrange, and I ended up in Kandahar.
Okay.
So I started out with some while we were there. I was kind of dual-hatted, doing some investigations there.
What kind of stuff were you guys investigating?
So, UCMJ type crimes, obviously in that realm. But we also, CID was super busy.
I got to ask you this.
What you got?
Because you're talking about the CID and the investigating stuff like that. Last night when we were here and we were running this panel, the very first question I opened up with was military sexual trauma.
Yep.
And how it affects not only the females but the males, the percentages that are affected, this is real shit. I used to be a rape repression defense instructor, so I'd have to get in front of a group of females and teach them about rape repression defense. And the first time I did that, I was shitting my pants. Because you're like, I don't want to fucking say something wrong. I don't want to fuck this up. Like, Jesus, what do I do?
Yeah.
But bringing the fact that you investigated these things, and I know a lot of this happens overseas and on deployments and on aircraft or not aircraft carriers, not aircraft, but probably aircraft, who knows. But have you yourself ever been involved in investigating those kind of instances?
I've assisted.
You've assisted.
Can
you kind of take us through that and
like
how that works? I know without violating. Your rules.
Well, obviously, we're not going to use names or anything like that. We can use examples, and obviously, as the Air Force's law enforcement organization, we're there to help those situations. And sometimes, the way the DoD has it set up right now, as far as restricted, unrestricted workforce, it's pretty interesting.
It is. It almost channels two different outcomes from the beginning of the investigation.
It does. It's interesting. I don't know if it's going to work. Ask me 10 years from now, and let me know. We'll see the results and the effect of it. I think what's good is there's interest in it, and there's interest in making sure that victims are taken care of, and the personnel who may or may not be subjects are taken care of as well.
Right.
In that realm. So, in some of the cases I dealt with, we were referred in a different deployment. I was at Bob Airborne. We were referred on a case. CID was super busy with suicides and all kinds of other stuff that they were having, and we had an incident come up there on the installation, and the victim wasn't with us. We actually, because of another case that we were running, we came across some video of some younger kids that were on a video that we were looking at. And, watching his reaction, we started asking questions on it after we referred the case. Pretty interesting stuff, and that's when I realized at that point, I'm probably not good to be an investigator anymore, because I'd almost rather reach across the table and choke you out than.
I was just gonna say, did that bring it out to where you're like, I want to just fucking murder this thing?
Yeah. So, and that's each investigator kind of goes through that, and it took me 3 or 4 years to figure out, all right, this is not something that I'm probably going to be healthy at doing.
Right.
And so I've dealt with some stuff there.
How much is a transference of emotional effect when you're dealing with that kind of stuff? Because I know there's a clash in the personal moral standing, your restrictions on what you can and can't do, and then your feeling of fucking justice vindicated, is a very powerful thing. So how much baggage carries over to that when you transition?
For that particular case, it was pretty interesting, because we're talking about a 7-year-old girl that was on this video, My daughter was 7 at the time.
Oh wow!
And so, here's what I did, and this helped, and it still helps. The guy that was helping me out, and we were working with on the case. It's the people beside you, the people next to you, and those guys in particular ended up being very strong advocates, and we ended up taking care of each other. So you take a break, let somebody else work it, and step back. And as gross and as gruesome as it can or cannot be, you start to understand that the people around you help you get through that scenario. And so I still talk to some of those
That's if
guys
you let
too.
them know. I know that some of us have myself included. Like sometimes I have a hard time letting somebody help me because you know, when you go through the training that you go through and you have that mindset and alpha mentality, you're kind of like, if I have somebody help me, I'm weak. Right. You know what I mean? And they tell you, don't be weak, don't fucking quit, blah, blah, blah. So it kind of gets ingrained in you.
I've noticed a transition in the military in the last 19 years in reference to that, though. Yeah.
You want to highlight that?
Even this week, we had some stuff over at Fairchild. We were talking back and forth, doing some small group discussions in reference to different suicide issues, mental health issues, and stuff like that. And when I first came in, it was, be tough, be strong, and there's no need for help. We're here for you. You know, the guy next to you is going to be there, and all that stuff. And it's interesting to see the military leadership now is saying, hey, listen, it's all right. We're not getting shot at right now. Go get some help. Okay. Go talk to some professionals. Go talk to guys at medical school. And I think that's a healthy thing. I think it's a good thing. That stigma has kind of changed a little bit. And for the younger crowd who, you know, that millennial type of generation, that's probably more of a healthy thing for them. You know what I mean? And so
you bring that up, the millennial generation, and I sit and I think, and I'm like, you all fucking grew up watching South Park and all this shit that is like crazy offensive. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Are you serious right now? Yeah. Oh man,
it's pretty interesting, but I think that's a good thing for them.
I do too.
Think about my kids, and I hope they have the opportunity, and they don't feel like it's a wrong thing to go talk to somebody about stressors that they're going through, things that they're going through, whether it's you know, talking about their buddy getting shot in the leg and then having to stick their finger in the leg to stop the bleeding, or just something
as simple
as
stick somebody's guts back in their stomach because they get hit with a rocket and they're coming in back in post, you know what I mean?
Even, there's those extreme situations, but even something as simple as I can't pay my bills right, and I don't know how to do it, and that's stressing me out, and I can't function properly until I know my bills are paid off. You know what I mean? Like,
I totally
from all extremes of the angle.
I totally get that.
In that realm. So, but I've noticed those changes, and I think it's healthy.
It definitely is. Now, do you think you've noticed that in your particular branch, right? Like, how many other branches have you worked with, either directly or indirectly, and what patterns have you seen that you think that you feel would be more unified or thought would be more unified across all the branches?
Kandahar was an interesting assignment. That was a complete joint assignment. My boss was a Marine captain.
Okay.
And then we had some Air Force guys. We had some Navy guys doing customs. Right. And then our Army guy was the guy that was running our police reports and stuff like that. So that was a complete package. A complete package of joint work together. In that realm, it was really simple and seamless, and the conversations were good. It was pretty interesting that the Marine captain was the one that was the boss, and he was the only Marine that we had at the time. But
I'm not gonna lie, that's usually the way shit goes.
It makes sense.
The Marine shows up.
If it's on the ground, the Marine's probably gonna be running it. But man, you learn a lot, and when I went into that, I had my certain thoughts on what a Marine was or what an Army guy was.
Crayon in the jar.
And you realize, like we talked about a little bit earlier, the humanistic value of people, and they all take a dump. You know, they're all human. They all take a shit. Yep. You know what I mean? So it depends on how you interact with them that'll help you get some stuff done. So to me, that transition and having those conversations and working together was something that was kind of seamless.
Nice.
It's really easy.
Awesome. So I see you got a guitar here.
Yeah.
And your active service, you're doing your thing. Thank you for your service. Yeah. It's greatly appreciated. Tell me why you have a guitar.
So I have a guitar because prior to me coming in the military, my stress relief was sports, like we talked about a little bit earlier. Played a lot of baseball, and that was my thing. Year-round, Florida, it's a big deal.
Yes, it is.
And that's something that you play year-round. And so when I finally got to that point that I knew that I couldn't play baseball anymore, I picked up the guitar and said, all right, I need to do something on a healthy side for myself to, you know. Yeah.
So that became your creative outlet. It became
absolutely.
your emotional outlet. All
Absolutely.
that. Okay.
Absolutely. And so from that point, you know, over this last 19, 20 years at different points during that time, I've had more or less time to play guitar. And since I arrived here in Spokane, I've played a lot and had a lot of opportunities. And it's been cool to kind of share my story and share music and stuff like that. Now that I'm, you know, I got the capability, and that's turned out to be a huge blessing.
Did you ever have a stumbling block that was like, I don't know if I should do this. I don't know if I'm confident enough to play in front of people, that kind of thing, or was it something that just kind of came?
For me, it's always been a thing. Like I used to sit on the back porch with my mom, and when I was just learning how to play, we would sit on the back porch, and it was our time, and I'd sit back there and stumble over whatever lyrics or whatever song that I was trying to play and stuff like that. So me, the hard part was making sure that I wanted to buy in from my family. You know, and to me, it was one of those things that if they think I'm okay, then I'm all right.
Then
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's the only people that I really feel like I truly need to impress is just make sure my family's good to go with it. And if nobody else likes it, that's all right. I'm good with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because it makes you happy. It keeps you grounded. It obviously has created a bond, you know, amongst you and your family, and it's a good way to show encouragement and backing each other up.
It's a cool thing. It's cool. My brother's picked up a guitar right now, and this week we were talking about he bought a new guitar, and he was mad. You know, it was kind of a funny story because at different times we both have kicked our guitars and had to get new ones because we kicked our guitars and we're mad and upset.
You get so mad, you smash it. You're like, God damn it, why did I do that?
And that's the thing is, as soon as you do it, you look at the guitar and you just shake your head and you're like, damn, that was the dumbest thing I've probably ever done. But so this week he went and got a new guitar, and we've been fooling around. Now my son, he picked up a guitar in the last couple of weeks. And
how old's your son?
Now he's 15.
Cool, man.
He's 15,
cool.
and so he didn't want anything to do with it. And then all of a sudden, come home and he's playing the guitar. I was like, what are you doing, man? That's awesome. You know what I mean? I never thought
maybe one of his buddies is like, you know, I heard if you can play the guitar really good, you'll get a lot of chicks. So he's like, in at 15, he's going through his prime, like, oh I'm going to get the chicks.
It might be what it is, but what's cool at this point though is I'm okay. You know, I can carry my own when it comes to music and stuff, and I did a lot of writing, and that also, I mean,
that's another.
We were talking earlier, man. I was in Greenland for a year, and
you went to Greenland for a year.
Yeah.
Why? Okay, what position? So you know what? Fucking, I'm going to Greenland.
Well, I mean, it's an assignment. We got a base up there. And, and
I've heard of that place.
The good side of that base is that for the Air Force, when you finish your time, you kind of get to pick where you're going to go. You know what I mean? They're like, okay, you're going to hang out in negative 70-degree weather, and you're going to walk the streets with like real polar bears. You know what I mean? Like, which was a thing while we were there. We're going to go ahead and let you pick where you're going to go next. And so, but during that time, I mean, you got 150 people that you see all year round. And the most that you'll see during the summer is that's when it gets busy. You'll see 900 people. And it's the same people that you see all year long. So it's very seasonal. 6 months of darkness, 6 months of light, you know, that type of thing. And it's
you ever see the Aurora Borealis while you're there?
What's that?
I'm sure you saw the Aurora.
Yeah. They were in the south though. They weren't the northern lights.
No, they're not. They're south.
They're in the south for us, which was crazy, because being in North Dakota, I've been stationed in North Dakota as well, and then while I was stationed there, you look to the north, and that's where the lights are. We were 600 miles from the North Pole, and so you look outside, and those lights are completely to the south, and it's crazy looking. But during that time, I mean, there's a lot of alone time. Yeah. A lot of alone time, and so, you know, obviously music helps you.
Is that something you've been afraid of?
What's that?
Alone time.
No. I am an extroverted person, but there is a part of me that is a little bit. I get refreshed on that introverted side from being alone.
Reflection is critically important, man.
It's huge.
I ask that because I know that there are a lot of veterans. They already feel that sense of isolation. Right. You know what I mean? And they're afraid of alone time because you're in that Wallace prison. You have the silent screams in your head, and you just, you know, like you want to be alone, but you don't, because you're like, if I stay alone too long, I'm going to go back down that rabbit hole, and I fucking hate that rabbit hole. You know?
Yeah, I think, you know, what helps out with that is obviously that term that military embrace the suck.
Give me a bigger shovel to eat this
yeah,
shit.
Yeah, exactly. Embrace the suck. But again, there's a positive aspect to that, and a little positive mental attitude stuff that you can throw in there and say, all right, what am I going to do with this time to make it better for myself? What am I going to do in the next step after this alone time is done?
Right.
So I can continue to move forward, and Greenland was that time for me. So I did a lot of writing.
Okay.
Did a lot of writing, and now this last year I've been here now for a year, and that's starting to come out. That's starting to come to fruition. And the cool thing about it is people are starting to relate to the music.
So are you doing your songs are all yours?
It depends. It depends on the night.
Okay,
you know what I mean. So if it's a Friday night, Saturday night, people want to party a little bit and have a good time, and so I'll pick it up and play a lot of covers and do that stuff. So there's engagement with the crowd at that point. But like last night, I was opening up for Sweeney.
You had over 200 people there, right?
Yeah,
that's impressive.
Somewhere between 150 200 people, somewhere in that realm. And while we were there, those type of situations, that's the chance where I had the opportunity to go ahead and play something that is definitely my own, something that's about me, kind of describes me, and hopefully people connect to it. And
so do you just kind of weave those into the covers?
Yeah. Last night it was definitely like that. Sometimes, like tonight, I'm going to do a songwriters round, and it's 4 total artists. We're going to sit around on a stage and just pass the jar with songs that you've written.
God, that's awesome.
So it's going to be pretty neat, and I'm excited about that piece. But I like it. Like I said, it depends on the venue and the time, location, where you're at, and what you're going to be doing as far as what songs I'm going to play.
Gotcha.
But yeah, that's my outlet, and it's been good. And like I said, the cool thing now is people are starting to they maybe get or can understand or associate with the songs that I'm singing right now. So and I'm from the South, right? So there's that aspect, but Southern, yes, probably more singer-songwriter type stuff than just straight up country.
Gotcha. You're putting a little different twist on it, right?
Yeah, I can't get rid of a little bit of the little nuances of how I say things.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So that's there for sure, but and I don't want to get rid of that, but it's one of those things that I wouldn't necessarily just throw me into like a George Strait realm and leave me there.
Gotcha.
I mean,
you're growing at the way you feel the energy is pushing you.
Right.
Is kind of what I think you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
Kind of chameleon-ish.
That's a good thing. But do you have anything you want to play?
Actually, this song, it was written by this guy named Ryan Nicholson, and we worked a little bit on it together. And he's out of the military now, but this was straight up a military song, and it's kind of like a little bit of a love song, but I think some of the lyrics folks will definitely associate with. It's called "Doing the Impossible."
Doing the Impossible. Yeah. Awesome. All right.
I'm not saying that it's wrong, I'm not saying that it's right, but all I know for sure is that I'm leaving here tonight. Fly to the skies, diving down to the sand. Here's a goodbye kiss from your fighting man. And I'm so tired, just so damn tired, living away from you. And I'm so tired, just so damn tired, living away from you. Only a month and I'm regretting it already. It's hard to stand tall with a load so heavy, such a long road ahead, many miles ahead. And I'm not sure how many more of them I'll be walking, 'cause there's a pretty little thing waiting for the phone to ring, praying that voice she hears is mine. And I'm so tired, just so damn tired, living away from you. And I'm so tired, just so damn tired, living away from you. Who told me these stories about the boys in uniforms, missing the days that their first child was born? But we keep pressing on and stay the course.
Though most of our wives will be filing for divorce, but not me and my girl. For I'll destroy the world if it means just one more day with her. And I'm so tired, just so damn tired, living away from you. And I'm so tired, just so damn tired, living away from you. And doing the impossible for the ungrateful, doing the impossible for the ungrateful, doing the impossible for the ungrateful. Well, I'm living away from you.
Bro, I gotta say, that's fucking awesome, dude. I really, really get that.
Yeah, man.
Fucking awesome.
I appreciate it, man.
Awesome,
Thank
dude.
you. Yeah, I grabbed hold of that with Ryan and I haven't let it go. That thing's been there. You wrote that, the majority of that song, I think like 17, 18 years ago.
Huh.
So, yeah, phenomenal stuff.
That's good stuff, dude. And I'm glad that you're bringing it out and that you're sharing that kind of stuff. That one hit. That one really hit.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah, it's that thing where you're like, man, I'm tired of doing this. Yeah, we've all had that, where
You're like, fuck, this is not what I thought it was gonna be. I'm fucking done. I can't take it.
But yeah, it's bullshit. I don't. Why does the Humvee feel like it still has a heater on it? Says it's an AC, and you got sand everywhere that you're not supposed to have. And you're like, all right, I know that on the backside of this, there's somebody there that it's gonna be there for me. So, all right, let's get over it. Yeah, let this be done. I'm tired of this bullshit. So,
well. Yeah. Man, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for sharing your story and your music. And where can people go to find your music? Where can they check you out?
Yeah, right now, obviously, the majority of the music that I play is right here in the Northwest because I'm still stationed here. I still have a day job, so I still have to do that stuff. But, as far as music is concerned, obviously, Joey Anderson Music on Facebook and the same thing on Instagram. And then this fall, I'm going to be going in to do some recording and get some stuff out on iTunes and Spotify at that point. But
that is
there's not much out there, so right now it's all nice and local in Facebook and Instagram. So.
Well, I'm telling you, the comments that are coming in right now is like, wow, amazing talent, great song. You got people giving you super likes. I love it, like this whole deal. So I'm not the only one it connected with. It definitely connected with a lot of people. And again, anything I can do to help you out, anything that I can do to promote you and what you're doing, what you stand for, please just fucking let me know, man. I'll make it happen.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate it. Man.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. All right, I'm going to cut back to what's up, guys? Joey Anderson, amazing song, amazing talent, amazing voice. I'm glad that we got him on the radio today because that just went out to 2 million people.
Crazy.
Dude, we have one listener on every fucking country planet.
That's
like
awesome,
it's unbelievable. We're trying to build that bridge of unity. You know what I mean?
That's awesome. And, I appreciate the platform, man. This is awesome.
So anything we can do to help, we push it out. We're all about that, man. So thank you so much. It's been a great thing.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys. I'm gonna put some music back on. I'm gonna put the weight screen up, and I'll be back here in a little bit with our next guest. I don't know if it's gonna be Philip, or I don't know if it's gonna be Heidi, but I know we have Nick Richardson coming up. We have Judy coming up. We have Mary Iverson coming up. We have and Dr. X will be coming up later tonight around 8:20 to continue this awesome foundation building that we've been doing here in Spokane and launching Devoted to a Soldier and Join Our Table movement. We got the legs, we got the tabletop built. Now we're just bringing the people. Gotta love it. And I'm gonna leave with another. I'm gonna put on another original from my good friend James White and the Trees of Life. Those guys are awesome. I'm a reggae guy. You'll love him, dude. I'm gonna introduce you when you get back down and when you come down. And you're always welcome.
Yeah.
Okay. So again, Joey Anderson, thank you so much. We'll see you guys in just a bit.
shakes and vibrates to the beat and melody. Hypnotize you with those eyes and gaze that makes your knees go weak. Ever more close, hit the floor, and I'll tell you what I see. Trouble, trouble. I see some trouble in here tonight. Trouble, trouble. Ow, ow. Anybody want to get in trouble tonight? Say hell yeah. Hell yeah. Steady shaking those hips, man, I can't seem to get a grip. You know she caught me staring, now she biting on her lip. She got me in her sights, guess I should just abandon ship. But we're down on the beach, her bikini tops off, and we go for a skinny dip. Trouble, trouble. I see some trouble in here tonight. Trouble, trouble. Ow, ow. Anybody want to get in trouble tonight? Say hell yeah. Hell yeah. Woo. A sensey sweetheart, she looks up and winks at me. She's got me stuttering, thinking about how this could be. She's tender, sweet with a little bit of southernness. Kind of woman that you go blind, giving you a night you won't forget. Trouble, trouble.